Hey there, welcome to Violet's DIY Style. If this is your first time to my channel, I'm Violet and I hope you consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to click on that bell button so you can be notified every time I upload a new tutorial. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with your friends and family. So today I'm going to share with you how I made this super easy yet very adorable Easter door wreath or indoor wreath that using Dollar Tree items. The first thing I'm going to do is basically get my largest ribbon or whichever kind you want to use. I'm using this green burlap ribbon that I actually got from a thrift store. So you can use any kind of ribbon you like. Just make sure that one is a little bit larger than all the rest of them. And then what I did was just cut 3 straps, and this is about an 8-inch in length piece of ribbon. And then I'm just cutting the ends to that point, just to give it more of a finished look. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab some other ribbons that I had on hand. This is, I believe this was from Joann's, but this one right here has little roses on it, and I thought it matched really pretty with the pinks and the flowers that were on my sign and my bunny. So what I did with this one was basically just make a simple bow, and then I did have some extra ribbon on my rolls, so what I did was just cut one of them, one of the pieces of ribbon to fit the same size as my green ribbon, and then the other strap I just left it long to use as a tail. So when you do cut your ribbons, make sure you do cut all the ends and tips off, just to give it more of a nice finished clean look to each one of your ribbon straps. Again, just cut it any way you'd like. I'm cutting mine in little angles like a penguin suit, I call it, but you can cut your tails any way you like. So that's another color. Then I decided to go ahead and put a little bit of glam in it. So I'm using this white glitter ribbon from Dollar Tree. And all I'm going to do is just make a simple bow, and I just wrap it around my finger a few times. And I wrapped it around twice, kind of pinched it in the middle just to form that 2 double loop bow. And then I'm going to go ahead and use that extra piece of little ribbon that I cut off first just to tie a knot, and to use this one as a bow as well. So you can cut and fix your bows or just cut different straps of ribbon. There's so many different ways to make bows. Basically, it's just what kind of bow you want to make. I really don't ever know what kind of style of bow I'm going to make until I start grabbing the ribbons and just playing with them. And then I just kind of go with the flow and figure out which one I want to make then. But I do typically like to make the one which I call it's like extra straps or extra pieces of ribbon, and you just cut them in different sizes and stack them up. That's just the kind of ribbon bows I really lean towards, but I do try to make a variety of different ones just depending on what I'm doing. So once I was done with that white glitter ribbon, I went ahead and grabbed some of this regular colored burlap ribbon, and all I'm going to do is again make a simple bow, and then I'm just going to cut it off and clean up my ends, and then also make another piece the same size as my green ribbon. So since the green ribbon is the largest one, that burlap green ribbon, that's the one I'm kind of measuring everything else out with, just to make sure that it all is almost the same size. It doesn't have to be exact, but at least close to it. That way your bow will look symmetrical and everything will be all nice and even. Then I found this yellow raffia ribbon in my stash, so I decided to go ahead and put that, incorporate it into my bow as well. So again, I just wrapped it around my fingers a few times, grabbed an extra strap of this little piece of ribbon, the raffia, and then just tie a knot to make that simple bow as well. Now, what I do with my raffia bows when I do make them, once I'm all done and have them all ready, I tend to open up the tails and just kind of divide them up to make more straps or more strings of the ribbon. And I'll show you how I do that towards the end once everything's nice and complete. So I did cut about 3 to 4 little strings of the ribbon as well, just to incorporate that yellow into my bow. So once you cut as many ribbons as you like, you can start putting them together. So as you can see, I'm kind of folding it like an accordion right in the middle, and I'm just holding them all together with one hand and just trying to work with all of them and using different colors, alternating from the green to the brown burlap. This is kind of the main part or the center of my bow. So once I have that basically done, then I can just grab all the rest of the ribbons and start working with them and putting them along the top and part of this bow, or even in the center, just depending on where I feel like I need that extra touch of color or whatever ribbon I'm using. So as you can see, I'm putting one on top, one on bottom, and then I decided to go ahead and just open my fingers up a little bit and insert one of them, these raffia strings in the center. So then I decided to go ahead and go with the white little strings that I got of the ribbon, that glitter one, and again I'm putting one on the top and one on the bottom. And then I'm pinching that flower ribbon and putting it on the top as well. So basically this is the center of it, and all I'm going to do is just grab some jute twine and wrap it around all of the ribbons that I put together, and then just tie a knot, and basically that's the backing or the main center of my bow. Then I'm going to grab the rest of the bows that I tied into simple bows and just alternate all of them and put them all stacked together. Again, grabbing some of that jute twine and wrapping it around all of my bows. And here I divided both of them because I wasn't sure if I was going to stack them together or make two separate bows and put them in two separate areas. I wasn't quite sure just yet, so I decided to leave them separate, just leaving that jute twine extra long so I can tie them together if I needed to. And as you can see, I did unravel the little pieces of my raffia just to make it more. And it's really simple to do, you just kind of pull it apart. So once I was done with both of my bows, I set them aside so I can start making my sign and then my wreath. And what I did was just grab one of these glitter ribbons, bunnies from Dollar Tree, and then I just glued it onto the sign from Dollar Tree that says Happy Easter. Now this sign was really pretty. It had kind of like that Victorian look to it with some flowers and roses on the top and bottom. And I just thought it was really, really pretty. So I'm glad I had it in my stash, so I decided to go ahead and use it by making a wreath, and not your typical wreath with the round metal frame. I just wanted to use one of these signs and share with you and show you that you don't also always have to have that round metal wreath or any kind of traditional round wreath. You can use different items to make a door wreath, and it looks so pretty, you know, and just kind of play with the things you already have to make your wreath. There's so many different ways. I've even made wreaths with shovels from the toy department in Dollar Tree, and I thought that was so pretty as well. And I'll make sure to leave that tutorial linked somewhere in here and also in the description box if you want to go check out and see how I made that wreath with the shovel as well for spring. So once, what I did was remove the top part of the hanging jute twine from this sign, and as you can see, all I did was make a longer string of jute twine. That way it could be a longer string to hang it. And the reason why I did that was because I want to add a bow to the top part, but I don't want all of the wording to disappear with that bow. So I needed it, the hanging of the rope a little bit longer, and I'll show you how I do that in just a minute. So after I did add that jute twine on top, I went ahead and grabbed some of these flowers. These are like a lavender branch from Dollar Tree. They have really pretty ones right now, and all I did was just kind of pull them apart and then set those aside. So now, before I started adding all my florals to my sign, I decided to go ahead and add my bow, and I did decide to add both of them together. So here I am just attaching them both together. You can just add hot glue, but since I did leave that jute twine extra long, I can just wrap it around and tie it. And this is a good way to reuse your bows as well. Say next year, or you know, even for spring or anything else, you want to use the same bow but not the same sign. You can easily just take it off and you still have a really perfect bow there. So this is why I cut and made my jute twine longer for the sign. As you can see, I made a knot, and that's where I'm going to tie my bow. Right where that knot is at. That way I can still have that extra loop on top to hang it to my door, but it's not going to cover all of the wording to my sign. So that's a trick that I do a lot when I make wreaths or use these signs, so that you won't cover them up with bows or flowers. I tend to make it, the hanging part, a little bit longer, just so I can use that to hang or attach my flowers or bow. And there you have it. Now you can leave it as is and it looks really pretty, but I like to add those extra touches. So what I decided to do was add some of those lavender stems into my bow. And here I just cut them into individual pieces of stems and just started inserting them into my bow just to give it that extra touch. As you can see, there's one, and just add a little bit of glue right at the bottom, and then kind of figure out where you want it, and then just open up your bow and then put it down in the bottom and allow that glue to dry, and it'll just dry perfectly in place. So just go ahead and pull everything apart and use whatever pieces of the flower stem you want to use. If you just want to use the greenery or just the flower itself. Here I'm actually just going to use one of those lavender little stems, or flower, I guess you could call it, and then just glue it wherever you like. And you'll see that this makes an extra touch to that bow, and it just gives it that extra little sights, I guess you could see that for that bow. I just like adding flowers and greenery to any kind of bow, and to me it just adds something special to them. So again, just add as much as you like wherever you want, and then once you're done with that, you're done with your bow. And I decided to go ahead and grab some of these flowers. These I just had on hand. I believe I got these last year in those $4 boxes from Michael's, but you can use any kind of flower you have, and just glue 2 of them. And since it's pink and white, that's what I'm going to use, and I'm going to attach them and glue them to the center of my bow. And if you wanted to add that extra Easter touch to this, you could even add an Easter egg right in the center of your bow as well, and that would look adorable too. So yeah, there's my bow, and I was nice and pretty and done. So I decided to get some more of the lavender stems and some more of my bows and just start playing with them and adding them to my bunny, just to give it more of that extra glam Victorian look that I was going for my sign. So I just started pulling everything apart and just start gluing it onto the top of my bunny, or right in the center of my bunny ears. Now keep in mind, this is just 2 stems of the lavender that I'm using from Dollar Tree, and I didn't use all 2 stems, so I still had some extra pieces. So I would say 2.5 is what I used, but you would need to get 2 of those stems if you want to make it exactly like I am. Then I decided to go ahead and add some flowers to this part as well, since I added flowers to my bow, and I'm going to add some pink and white flowers to my bunny as well. I decided to go ahead and go with one of the larger flowers and add it right in the center, and then kind of play with these smaller flowers and gluing them and attaching them around my larger flower. So since my larger one was pink, I decided to go ahead and use white around that color. Easter's right around the corner. I know a lot of us are doing things different this year still for Easter, but I just want to know, what traditions are you keeping intact this year, and what are you going to do new this year, since everything is kind of different. I'm just kind of curious to know what everybody has planned and what new ideas they might have. Maybe I can incorporate them into my family's Easter as well. So once I was done with my bunny, I decided to go ahead and add those extra little pieces of lavender and flowers that I had already cut up, and just glued them to the bottom of my sign, just to add that extra touch that I wanted. But this is completely optional. You can stop with just the bow or just continue adding whatever you like to your sign. That's the perfect and the plus side of doing DIYs. You can make anything and everything your own and give it that special personal touch that you want for your home. So once I was done adding that white large flower, I just went ahead and played with the pinks and the whites, and just started adding different flowers all around my larger one. I didn't want to add too much, but I did want to add something down at the bottom of my sign. So I kind of just kept it a little bit simple, or at least simple for me, and this is how it turned out. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of this easy yet very pretty Easter door wreath. If you did, again, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Bye.